You ever stop and think about how our massive, chaotic digital world actually makes sense? Well, today, we're diving into that exact journey, from messy, raw data to the clean, organized information that powers, well, pretty much everything. I mean, just think about your day. You're checking your bank account, maybe booking a flight, buying something online. Behind all of that, there's this invisible engine just humming along. It's a technology you're using constantly, maybe without even realizing it. And that is the hero of our story today, the database management system. So, to really get what this engine does, we first have to understand the fuel it runs on. And that all starts with the huge difference between just random, meaningless bits of data and real, actual insight. Okay, so this slide breaks it down perfectly. On the left, you've got raw data, things like an IP address, your name, your age. On their own, they don't really tell you much, do they? But when a system gets its hands on that data and processes it, it transforms into information. All of a sudden, you can spot patterns like, hey, men aged 20 to 25 are our most common visitors. See? That's not just data anymore. That's real intelligence you can actually use. But getting to that kind of insight wasn't always so simple. I mean, way back in the early days of computing, data was basically trapped, locked away on these giant, slow, clunky magnetic tapes. Just imagine trying to find one specific piece of info in that mess. It was a total nightmare. So, the big question is, how in the world did we get from that data chaos to the instant access we have today? Well, it's time to officially meet the hero of our story, the database management system, or as you'll often hear it, the DBMS. So what is a DBMS? At its core, it's the software that acts as an intelligent gatekeeper for our data. It's the tool that lets us build, manage, and actually talk to a database. It's the bridge between us and the mountains of information stored inside. And honestly, this is the perfect way to think about it. If the database is the library, then the DBMS is the super smart, hyper-efficient librarian. It knows exactly where every single book or piece of data is. It knows who's allowed to check it out, and it keeps everything perfectly organized so you can find what you need in a split second. This diagram really shows you how it all works. See how the DBMS is sitting right there in the middle? It's the hub, coordinating everything. You, the end user on your phone, and all the different applications. Everyone has to go through the DBMS to get to the actual database. It really is the central nervous system of the whole operation. Okay, so we know what it is. But where do we actually see it in action? Well, the short answer is pretty much everywhere. It's truly the unseen engine that makes our modern world tick. Just look at this. When a bank looks up your account balance, that's a DBMS. When an airline books your seat on a plane, yup, DBMS. From universities managing student records to HR departments handling payroll, the list goes on and on. It is, no exaggeration, the foundational technology for almost every single major industry out there. I mean, that's a pretty impressive resume, right? But what are the actual features that give a DBMS all this power? What's going on under the hood that makes it so essential? All right, let's talk superpowers. First, data consistency. This makes sure that when you withdraw money from an ATM, your balance updates correctly everywhere. Then there's concurrent access. This is huge. It's why thousands of people can buy concert tickets at the exact same second without the whole system crashing. It also reduces redundant, repetitive data to save space and stop errors. It provides rock-solid security, and critically, it gives us a simple language to ask really complex questions and get answers from all that data. So we get why it's powerful, but how does it actually organize all of this information? To get that, we need to look at the blueprints for our digital world, and then see how those blueprints are actually built. So everything starts with what's called a database model. You can think of this as the architectural plan for the entire structure. It lays out all the rules for how data is going to be stored and organized before a single piece of code is even written. Now, there are a few different types of these blueprints out there, but for decades, one has absolutely dominated the scene: the relational model. And the real beauty of the relational model is its elegant simplicity. Data is organized into tables. You can think of them like superpowered spreadsheets. But here's the magic. As you can see right here, these tables can be connected to each other. So information about a customer, their orders, and the products they bought can live in separate tables, but they can all be linked together to tell a complete story. That's the power of relationships. So how does this all get put together in a real system? Well, the most basic setup is what we call one-tier architecture. In this case, everything, the application, the data, the whole shebang, it all lives on one single computer. It's simple for sure, but you almost never see this in the real world anymore. What's much more common is the two-tier or client-server model. Here, your application, the client, is separate from the database, which lives on its own powerful server. This separation was a huge leap forward for both performance and security. But the gold standard today? That's the three-tier architecture. First, you've got the presentation layer. That's what you see and interact with on your screen. Then, in the middle, you have the application layer. This is the brains of the operation, handling all the business logic. And finally, you've got the database layer, where the data is kept safe and sound, totally separate from everything else. So, why bother with all these layers? Well, this separation is the absolute key to our modern digital world. It makes systems way more secure because users never directly touch the data. It makes them scalable, so an app can grow from 1,000 users to 1 million. And it makes them much, much easier to maintain and update. This architecture is the silent hero of our entire digital economy. And that brings us full circle. We've gone from those messy, inaccessible tapes of the past to today's sophisticated, elegant, multi-layered systems. We've managed to turn total data chaos into a world of digital order, and it's the humble database management system that made it all possible. We've definitely tamed the chaos, for now. But with the amount of data in the world growing at a truly mind-boggling rate, you have to wonder, right? What will the next generation of these digital librarians even look like? It's something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.